You walk into the grocery store thinking you're making smart choices, clean labels, trusted brands, products you've been buying for years. But what if I told you that some of the most popular items sitting in your cart right now have been linked to cancer clusters, neurological damage, and contamination so severe that entire batches have been pulled from shelves while you were still eating them at home? What if I told you that 9 of the products you probably bought this week contain chemicals that are completely banned in the European Union, but somehow still legal here, still marketed to your family, still taking up premium shelf space like nothing's wrong? The industry doesn't want you asking questions. They want you trusting the packaging. They want you thinking that if it's on the shelf, it must be safe. They're counting on your loyalty, your exhaustion, your assumption that someone somewhere is protecting you. They're not. What I'm about to show you will change how you shop forever. Here's what's happening in the next few minutes. I'm going to walk you through the exact brands you need to remove from your kitchen. Not vague categories. Not maybes. Specific products with specific problems that have specific consequences for your body. I'm going to show you the lawsuits, the recalls you never heard about, the lab results that got buried, and the chemicals that are damaging your system right now, today, while you're watching this. And then I'm going to give you the alternatives. The brands that actually give a damn. The ones that prove this industry could do better if they wanted to. But first, I need you to do something. Drop a comment right now with the brand sitting in your kitchen. The one you trust, the one you've been buying for years. Because chances are, it's about to show up on this list. Let's start with the one that's probably in your fridge right now. You grew up with this brand. Your parents bought it. You buy it, it's the default, the safe choice. The one with the smiling families on the commercials and the bright primary colors on the label. It feels like home. Kraft Singles. In 2022, multiple batches were recalled due to choking hazards from plastic film that wasn't properly adhering to the cheese. But here's the real problem. The product itself isn't even legally allowed to be called cheese. It's a cheese product. Because real cheese doesn't need a list of 15 ingredients to exist. The primary concern is the amount of sodium phosphate used as an emulsifier. We're talking about 400 to 500 milligrams of sodium per slice. The FDA allows it. The EU restricts it heavily. Why? Because excessive phosphate intake has been directly linked to cardiovascular disease, kidney dysfunction, and accelerated bone density loss. Studies published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that high phosphate levels in processed foods contribute to vascular calcification. Your arteries harden. Your kidneys work overtime. Your bones weaken. And the texture, that unnatural smoothness, that's not cream, that's chemistry. It's designed to melt uniformly, stay shelf stable for months, and never separate. Real cheese doesn't do that. Real cheese behaves like food. Children consume this daily, in lunchboxes, on burgers, as snacks. Their developing systems are absorbing phosphates at levels their bodies can't regulate. Seniors with compromised kidney function are eating this without knowing that every slice is pushing their system closer to failure. Kraft knew the plastic film issue was a problem before the recall went public. They kept shipping. They kept selling. Because stopping production costs money and your safety is negotiable. Is that worth the convenience? Is it worth the 30 seconds you save not slicing real cheese? Let's move to your pantry. You buy it because it's fast, because it's nostalgic, because the box says, made with real cheese, and you don't read past that. You boil the pasta, stir in the powder, add butter and milk, and you've got dinner in 7 minutes. Kraft mac and cheese. In 2013, food safety advocates found phthalates in the powder. Phthalates are endocrine disruptors used in plastics and packaging that leach into food during production and storage. The levels detected were significantly higher than in organic alternatives. The FDA says the levels are acceptable. The EU banned multiple phthalates from food contact materials entirely. Why the difference? Because Europe uses the precautionary principle. If there's evidence of harm, they act. We wait until the harm is undeniable. Phthalates interfere with hormone function. They mimic estrogen. They disrupt testosterone. In children, this means early puberty, developmental delays, and reproductive issues later in life. In adults, it means increased cancer risk, particularly breast and prostate. The American Academy of Pediatrics released a report in 2018 urging families to avoid processed foods with synthetic additives, specifically calling out products like boxed mac and cheese. They don't say this lightly. They're telling you that feeding this to your kids is a risk. And the color, that unnatural orange glow, that's yellow 5 and yellow 6. Synthetic dyes linked to hyperactivity, allergic reactions, and tumor growth in animal studies. Banned in Norway and Austria, restricted across the EU, fully legal here. Your kids are eating this multiple times a week. You're eating it when you're tired, when you need something quick, when you tell yourself it's just one box. They marketed this to you as comfort food, as childhood, as family tradition. They knew what was in it the whole time. How many boxes are in your pantry right now? Next, let's talk about your morning routine. You trust it because it's been around forever. Because the label says, heart healthy, and shows fields of oats and sunshine. Because your doctor told you to eat more fiber, and this seems like the easiest path. Quaker oats. In 2018, the Environmental Working Group tested 45 oat-based products for glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup weed killer. Quaker oats tested positive in multiple samples, with levels exceeding the EWG's health benchmark for children. Glyphosate is a probable human carcinogen according to the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer. It's been linked to non-Hodgkin lymphoma, liver damage, and gut microbiome destruction. The levels detected were parts per billion. That sounds small, but you're eating this every single day. The accumulation is what matters. Day after day, week after week, year after year, your body is absorbing a chemical designed to kill living organisms. And it's not just glyphosate. Conventional oat farming uses pesticides throughout the growing cycle. Those residues don't wash off. They're absorbed into the grain. You're eating them. The smell. That warm, toasted scent you associate with comfort. It's masking a product that's been contaminated before it ever reached the processing plant. People with autoimmune conditions, pregnant women, anyone managing cancer recovery, they're all eating this thinking it's healthy, thinking it's safe. The box says 100% natural. Natural doesn't mean clean. Quaker has faced multiple lawsuits over glyphosate contamination. They've settled some, fought others. But they haven't changed their sourcing. They haven't committed to organic. Because that would cost more, and your health isn't their priority. You deserve better than this. You deserve oats that are actually clean. Have you been eating this every morning? Now let's hit the snack aisle. You buy them because they're crunchy, salty, and everywhere. Because the bag is bright and loud and promises flavor. Because they're cheap and filling, and you've been eating them since you were a kid. Doritos. The problem starts with the oil. These chips are fried in vegetable oils, corn, soybean, canola, that are heavily processed and high in omega-6 fatty acids. Excessive omega-6 consumption promotes inflammation, cardiovascular disease, and metabolic dysfunction. Then there's the flavor coating. Monosodium glutamate, disodium inositol, disodium guanylate. These are excitotoxins that overstimulate neuron receptors. The research is clear: chronic MSG consumption is linked to headaches, nausea, metabolic disorders, and neurotoxicity. The artificial colors are the same ones I mentioned earlier. Red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6. The EU requires warning labels on products containing these dyes because of their link to hyperactivity in children. We don't even require disclosure. And the sensation. That unnatural crunch that coats your fingers in orange dust. That's not food. That's engineered addiction. Frito-Lay has food scientists whose entire job is to create the bliss point, the exact combination of salt, fat, and flavor that makes your brain crave more. You can't eat just one chip. That's not willpower. That's design. People with high blood pressure are eating these, spiking their sodium intake by 300 milligrams per serving. People with ADHD are consuming synthetic dyes that worsen their symptoms. People with heart disease are inflaming their arteries with every handful. Frito-Lay knows exactly what these ingredients do. They have the research. They have the resources. They choose profit over reformulation. They market this as fun, as bold, as living mass. They're selling you slow, cumulative damage in a shiny bag. Is the flavor worth it? Let's move to the freezer aisle. You buy it because dinner is chaos and you need something fast. Because the kids will actually eat it. Because the box shows golden, crispy chicken and smiling faces and you're too exhausted to question it. Tyson chicken nuggets. In 2023, Tyson recalled over 30,000 pounds of chicken nuggets due to potential metal contamination. Pieces of metal. In food meant for children. This wasn't an isolated incident. They've had multiple contamination recalls over the past 5 years. But the deeper issue is what's intentionally in the product. These nuggets contain mechanically separated chicken, which is poultry paste created by forcing bones with attached tissue through a sieve under high pressure. It's cheap, it's efficient, it's disgusting. The ingredient list includes sodium phosphates, modified cornstarch, dextrose, and autolyzed yeast extract, a flavor enhancer chemically similar to MSG. The breading is more filler than meat, and the antibiotics. The poultry industry uses more antibiotics than human medicine. Those residues end up in your food, contributing to antibiotic resistance. The CDC calls this one of the biggest public health threats of our time. The texture should tell you everything. That uniform softness, that identical shape. Real chicken doesn't behave like that. Real chicken has fibers, variation, structure. This is processed paste, molded and fried. Children eat these multiple times a week. Their growing bodies are consuming antibiotics, phosphates, and low-quality protein, while their parents think they're providing a balanced meal. Tyson's marketing is all about family, about trust, about American farms. Meanwhile, they've been fined for environmental violations, labor abuses, and food safety failures. They knew metal fragments were getting into the food. They shipped it anyway. Because recalls are cheaper than prevention. Would you feed this to your family if you saw how it was made? Now let's talk about your bread. You buy it because it's soft, because it stays fresh for weeks, because it's the sandwich bread everyone recognizes. The loaf with the colorful dots. The one that's been in your kitchen since you were a child. Wonder Bread. This product contains calcium propionate, a preservative used to prevent mold. Studies have linked calcium propionate to irritability, restlessness, sleep disturbances, and attention problems in children. The Lancet published research showing behavioral changes in kids who consumed foods with this additive. Then there's the high fructose corn syrup. It's the third ingredient. In bread, HFCS is linked to obesity, insulin resistance, fatty liver disease, and type 2 diabetes. You're eating it in bread, not dessert. The texture is a warning sign. Bread should go stale. It should mold. It should behave like organic matter. Wonder Bread stays soft for weeks because it's engineered to resist nature. That's not freshness. That's chemistry. And the enrichment. They strip the grain of all its nutrients during processing, then add back synthetic vitamins and call it enriched. You're getting a fraction of what real whole grain provides, and you're paying for the privilege of inferior nutrition. People managing diabetes are eating this, spiking their blood sugar with every slice. People trying to lose weight are consuming empty calories that leave them hungry an hour later. Kids are getting behavioral additives with their peanut butter and jelly. The company markets this as wholesome, as classic, as American. They're selling you a chemical sponge that barely qualifies as food. They could reformulate. They could use better ingredients. They choose not to. How many slices have you eaten this week? Let's finish with your drinks. You buy it because it's everywhere. Because it's cold and sweet and the marketing tells you it's happiness in a bottle. Because you've been drinking it your entire life and stopping feels impossible. Coca-Cola. One 12-ounce can contains 39 grams of sugar. That's nearly 10 teaspoons. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 6 teaspoons per day for women, 9 for men. One can exceeds that. The phosphoric acid used for flavoring lowers your blood pH and leaches calcium from your bones. Long-term consumption is directly linked to osteoporosis, kidney stones, and dental erosion. Your teeth are dissolving. Your bones are weakening. And the caramel color. It's created using ammonia and sulfites at high temperatures, producing 4-methylimidazole, a compound classified as a possible carcinogen. California requires a cancer warning on products containing significant levels. Coca-Cola reformulated for California to avoid the label but kept the original formula everywhere else. You're drinking different formulations based on where you live. The company knows certain ingredients are problematic. They remove them only when legally required. The caffeine and sugar combination creates a dopamine response in your brain identical to addictive substances. You crave it. You need it. That's not coincidence. That's deliberate. People with diabetes are drinking this, crashing their blood sugar. People with heart disease are consuming phosphoric acid that calcifies their arteries. People with osteoporosis are accelerating their bone loss with every sip. Coca-Cola's marketing is about joy, about sharing, about moments. They're selling you chronic disease in a red can. They have the resources to create a healthier product. They choose sugar, acid, and addiction instead. How many cans are in your fridge right now? Now let me show you what actually works. After everything you've just heard, you're probably wondering if there's anything left to eat. There is. But it requires you to care about ingredients more than convenience. Let's start with cheese. Organic Valley grass-fed cheese. This is what cheese is supposed to be. Milk, salt, cultures, enzymes. 4 ingredients. The cows are grass-fed, which means higher omega-3 content, better flavor, and no synthetic hormones or routine antibiotics. The company is a cooperative owned by family farmers. They're transparent about sourcing, testing, and production. Their standards exceed USDA organic requirements. They test for contaminants. They publish results. This is what the industry could look like if it prioritized health over profit. Organic Valley proves that clean dairy is possible. It just costs slightly more because quality ingredients and ethical farming aren't cheap. The difference is in the taste, the texture, the way it melts. Real cheese behaves like food, not plastic. Now let's talk about oats. Bob's Red Mill Organic Oats. These oats are certified organic, which means no glyphosate, no synthetic pesticides, no GMOs. The company tests every batch for purity. They're employee-owned, which aligns their incentives with quality, not shareholder profit. The oats are minimally processed, preserving fiber, protein, and micronutrients. They're not instant. They take time to cook. But that's the point. Real food requires effort. People managing cholesterol, blood sugar, and heart health can eat these knowing they're actually supporting their bodies instead of contaminating them. Bob's Red Mill proves that clean grains are accessible. They're not boutique. They're not impossible to find. They're in most grocery stores, priced reasonably, and backed by a company that actually cares about what they're selling. These two brands aren't perfect. No brand is, but they represent a standard that the rest of the industry refuses to meet. They prove that better is possible. They show that transparency, testing, and quality ingredients aren't fantasy. They're choice. The companies I exposed earlier have the same resources. They have the same access. They choose differently because they're optimizing for profit, not health. You deserve brands that treat you like a person, not a transaction. So here's what you do next. You go to your kitchen right now. Not later. Not tomorrow. Now, you pull out every product I mentioned, the Kraft singles, the boxed mac and cheese, the Quaker Oats, the Doritos, the Tyson nuggets, the Wonder Bread, the Coca-Cola. You read the ingredients, you see the chemicals, the additives, the preservatives. You see exactly what you've been putting in your body, and then you throw them out. I know that feels wasteful. I know it feels extreme. But keeping them is worse. Eating them is worse. Feeding them to your family is worse. You replace them with better, with brands that care, with ingredients you recognize, with food that behaves like food. This isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. It's about making one better choice at a time until better becomes normal. The grocery store is designed to confuse you. Bright packaging, health claims, celebrity endorsements, nostalgia. It's all marketing. It's all designed to override your logic and activate your emotions. You have to be smarter than the shelf. You have to read labels. You have to ask questions. You have to care more about what's inside the package than what's printed on the front. The industry is counting on your exhaustion, your trust, your assumption that someone else is protecting you. No one is protecting you. You have to protect yourself. This isn't fear. This is information. This is power. This is you taking control of what enters your body and your home. You now know the truth. You know which brands are contaminated, which chemicals are dangerous, which marketing is lies. What you do next is on you. Choose better. Demand better. Be better. Your health isn't negotiable. Your family's health isn't negotiable. The brands I expose today will keep selling. They'll keep marketing. They'll keep contaminating. Because they can. Because it's profitable. Because most people won't do what you're about to do. But you're not most people anymore. You're informed. You're aware. You're done being exploited. Go to your kitchen. Make the change. Start today. This is how you take your power back.